So in Isaiah chapter 60 and verses 1 to 3, this is a prophetic word that concerns you. It says, "Arise, shine, light has come." And the word light means revelation, illumination. Darkness is going to be parting. Light is come in the darkness season. And then it says, "The glory of the Lord will rise upon you." Then the prophet says, "See, darkness covers the earth. Even thick darkness is over the peoples." This is one of the worst times in the history of humanity because we have more people alive now on the planet than has ever been in the history of humanity. So when a crisis comes, it's not just a 1,000, it's not just 500, it is hundreds of thousands. It is not just a few people affected, it's millions affected and billions affected. So billions are in thick darkness. And then, but the Lord rises upon you and his glory appears over you. And then the prophet gives you a promise. What's going to happen? Nations will come to your light. You know, moths are attracted to light. And when you begin to operate with light, you will become attracted globally because you are carrying something that the nations want. They want the darkness to go, and you're a carrier of light. And then it says, "Kings will come to the brightness of your dawn." The story today will make you recognize that this can happen to you. It concerns you. We're going to talk about kings that begin to serve a slave. We're going to talk about the brightness of the dawn that can come even to your children. And that's why we want you to make sure your children hear this, because kings will come to the brightness of your dawn. This prophetic word concerns you. And so I want you today to lift your dreams with expectations. What is it you think you used to dream about? What is it you think you used to want? What do you think could have happened to you, but you thought, nah, it's not possible. Lift your dreams and put expectations to it, because kings will come to the brightness of your glory. This is very important for the advancement in your school, your career life, your business partnerships, your relationships. It is so important because the glory in you will attract a teacher to like you. And when the teacher likes you, they will promote you, and they will give you scholarships, and they will help you. If it will make you attractive even in your career life, because the president will just one day see you, attracted to you, don't know why. This young man looks like a different young man. This young lady looks like a different young lady. This person is carrying something different. I'm talking about glory, making kings attract to your glory. And this is for everybody watching today. If you are willing to lift your dream and connect it to expectations. Notice it says, see the darkness, understand it. And that's why we study about, diseases, and we study about different pandemics, because we need to understand how to protect ourselves, listen to instruction, how to protect our family, and then how to protect our calling, how to protect our destiny. Understand it. Understand the attacks that come with each season. We're not in heaven yet. So we need to understand that. How does it attack family, relationship? Protect yourself, but see the glory. Understand the glory while you understand the darkness. Because glory is going to rise upon you, and the glory will appear over you in the middle of the darkness. That's what the prophet says. And then he's telling you, kings will come to the brightness of your glory. And so let's go into a history of a national crisis in Egypt, because it's good to learn from how God works. And that's why I use the Bible so much, because if he says, I am the God who is and was and is tomorrow. So he is the God of the past, but very current, very relevant, and he's in your future before you get there. So you really want to understand the way he thinks, the way Satan thinks, the power of evil, but the greater power of glory. And so in Exodus 1, reading verses 8 to 13, it says, "Then a new king who did not know about Joseph came to power in Egypt." Now Joseph was the one who brought Egypt to become the greatest nation, the most powerful nation, the most wealthiest nation, by seizing a time of crisis, and God gave him a secret wisdom that made the king great. As a result, Israelites were saved, and they were brought in to live in Egypt in their own territory called Goshen. So the Israelites were famous. Their leader was Joseph, and he was the chief of staff for the king. So they were very famous. But then that king died, and he had a son, and then now this new king came up who did not know about Joseph and just saw these people living over there. Who are they? Oh, they are the Israelites. And then he said, look, he said to his people, "The Israelites have become much too numerous for us. Come, we must deal with them shrewdly." Shrewdly. Wow. What does that word shrewdly mean? We're going to be tactical. We're going to be wise. We're going to be intentional about these people. They are growing too great. So we must deal with them shrewdly, or they will become too numerous for us. And if war breaks out, they will join our enemies. They'll fight against us, and they will leave the country. In other words, we don't want them to leave. We have to keep them captive. They will be ours. What does that mean? This is an example of what is called systemic racism. Understand the dynamics here. You live in a country where the governmental and societal system is put in place to stop your growth, to stop you from multiplying, to stop your power, to stop your progression, and to stop your prosperity. I mean, the king actually said it. I will put a system. You see, it has to be a system because a system will perpetuate generationally. And he says from now on, it institutional legalized racial discrimination that will affect the lives of these people in every single area of society. They must not prosper in Egypt. And even if they multiply and have more children, those children must not prosper above the original Egyptians. And so the system affects them economically, poverty, it affects health, it affects infant mortality. Even the children were at risk. I'm talking about what systemic racism does. It affects the children, it affects hope, it affects survival. And so it's systemic. In other words, this is not an act that I'm doing. I have created a system that will perpetuate its missions for generation. When you look at what God does in the beginning, he made man, he made women, he made different kind of trees, and it says they would reproduce after their own kind. Why? Because it's not just a plant, it's a system. They were made to reproduce after a certain DNA. A system will make you reproduced after a certain DNA. And so if you're poor, you'll never stop being poor. If you're a slave, you'll never stop being slave. No matter what country, if the country decide in this system, a certain group of people will never progress, it happens. And so he created a system of slavery to ensure that this, even if he died, this will never change. And would you believe over 200 years, this system works until God. And so in verse 11, how did he do it? He put slave masters over them to oppress them. You see what systemic racism does? It oppresses you into forced labor. In other words, you'll never earn a certain amount. And then they built Pithom and Ramesses and stores, cities for Pharaoh. But the more they oppressed the Israelites, the more they multiplied and spread. So the Egyptians came to dread them. So he couldn't stop the multiplication. He couldn't stop them from getting pregnant and having children. He could stop them from prospering. He could stop them from having money because they stole the gold, they stole the silver, they stole everything. But they couldn't stop them from reproducing. So they kept reproducing. So he says, you know what? The way I have to oppress these people is to create a system to work them ruthlessly. Cruelty. If they can't work anymore, we kill them off. Let's kill off all the old people. Let's kill off all the sick ones. Let's kill off all the weak ones because they're no longer equal to the Egyptians. They are nothing. They're less than the animals. We preserve the animals so we can sell them, but these people must just be worked, and when they can't work, we kill them off. This is the Hitler spirit we're talking. The Hitler spirit is the same systemic racism. And so when evil root take hold of governments and leaders, it grow into more and more wickedness. Notice deep down they fear these people. Why do they fear these people that they have oppressed? Isn't that funny? So they're always wanting to suppress you because there's glory you're carrying that you don't know. That's the point. That's the whole issue here we're talking about. You don't know how to see the glory in the darkness. So you can rise up. But thank God, you're going to hear one woman got it. One woman got it. God looked at 2 million people plus children and only find one person that he could work with. I hope you are the one person today. It doesn't matter if I lift up your hand and say, God, I am that one person. If you're looking for somebody to break the status quo, if you're looking for somebody to rise above systemic racism, inequality, injustice, if you're looking for someone, God, look no more. I am here. I am ready to cooperate with you, and I'm ready to believe that my God is greater.